think what has happened is that employment in the 3 months to March increased by 0.2%, but the unemployment rate overall was slightly higher than had been the case before. So it's gone up to 3.9%. So we mustn't confuse the two. And of course, there are all sorts of reasons for that sort of disparity, if you like. But the underlying trend is still one where we have quite good employment data overall, but obviously because of the slowdown in the economy that we have seen, there is also an increase in unemployment generally, but tiny increase. And one of the reasons for that increase in unemployment is because more people are now presenting themselves to work. So because of course, if there is a lot of inactivity, which has been very high, over 20% for quite some time, then you're looking at a smaller labor force from which you can sort of calculate your unemployment data. What's happened now is that there's been this increase of people returning to work, particularly the younger generation, so 18 to 24-year-olds, which is good news. You still have a problem with the long-term sick who are increasing their inactivity levels, but overall what you're seeing is there's a bit of a return to work, more people making themselves available, and therefore, inevitably the unemployment rate goes up a little bit while the economy adjusts. So it's good news overall, I would say, that we are still in a position where we can claim to have high employment and low unemployment, despite the slight increase in that unemployment rate.
Vicky, I'm fascinated to get your take as an economist on what the Home Secretary is saying and how she's pitching herself against the Prime Minister on immigration, because we hear that the Home Office is predicting a further sharp rise in immigration by the time we hit the next election. They're saying net migration, an influx of another 1.1 million foreign workers and students projected for next year. How does that whole immigration thing play out with us trying to bring down unemployment in this country? Do you see it as a conflict, as a danger, or you think it's livable with?
What you really want is to have higher growth, but that, of course, encourages companies to want to hire people, which is basically, how you develop this marketplace to be sort of healthy and vibrant. What we've got, unfortunately, at present is still over 1 million vacancies, which are not being filled. And there are many sectors, such as hospitality, for example, construction, which are clearly suffering from the fact that we've lost quite a lot of EU workers in particular. Yes, there are loads more people coming in, as we've seen recently, but those people are not necessarily the right ones for particular types of jobs where some of those serious shortages are. But nevertheless, having more people available for work makes a huge amount of sense for the sectors that are still struggling with staff shortages. But I mean, you've got a point. If you still have, problems with unemployment, then, lots more people turning up may not be particularly helpful. But frankly, we've had very high inward migration for quite some time, and yet we have practically record low unemployment levels. So I wouldn't worry about that from that point of view. But what it would do is stimulate the economy to grow faster, which is the general calculation that organizations like the Office for Budget Responsibility make. They were worried that because of lower projections of migration, inward migration, we were going to have quite low growth and low productivity in the coming years. Well, if we have more, maybe they will have to revise their statistics.